Let's talk about what happens when you actually get the one thing everybody thinks they want, a lot of money. Because it's not what you think, it's what it does to your head that really matters.
Okay, so here's the honest, uncomfortable truth. Suddenly coming into a significant amount of money, whether you earned it, inherited it, or your company just had a massive exit, it's often a really, really unsettling experience. It is absolutely not the fairy tale we're all sold.
So why is that? Why does finally hitting this huge life goal so often feel like the ground is shifting right under your feet? Well, the answer isn't about the numbers in your bank account. It's all about what's going on up here in your mind.
This is where we get to the heart of it, a concept called your wealth identity. Think of it like this. It's your personal money story. It's all the beliefs, the feelings, the stuff you learned from your family. It's your internal programming about money. And when a ton of new cash suddenly shows up, that whole program can just crash.
And this image just says it all, doesn't it? Look, making the money, that's the how-to part. It's a technical puzzle you can solve. But the real work, the hard part, it's figuring out how to have that wealth and not let it completely take over who you are. That's a whole different ballgame.
So that's exactly what we're going to do today. We are going to map out the 4 psychological stages of adapting to wealth. Think of it as a roadmap. If you can understand these stages, you can get a handle on your own money story instead of letting it control you. And hey, if you want more insights just like this, make sure you subscribe to Money Mind Stuff.
All right, here's the plan. We'll kick things off with that initial crisis, walk through each of the 4 stages, and then talk about how you can master your own story.
Okay, let's dive right into stage 1. It's called the honeymoon, but it's not always as nice as it sounds. This is that first shock to the system. Everything is seen in black and white, and your emotions are just all over the place.
And what's so fascinating about this stage is you tend to swing to one of 2 extremes. On one hand, you've got the money is all good camp. This is that narcissistic rush. You feel powerful, you feel invincible, like you can do anything. But on the other side of the coin, you have the money is all bad camp. And this is where you're just bogged down by guilt, anxiety, even paranoia. The money feels like this heavy weight. You got to remember, neither of these is rational. It's all raw emotion. So no matter which side you land on, the feeling underneath is instability. Trust suddenly becomes this massive issue. You start looking at your friends, your family, and wondering, do they actually like me? Or do they just like my money? It's an incredibly confusing and, honestly, a very lonely place to be.
To make this feel real, let's follow an archetype. We'll call her Amy. And this quote, it just nails it. She says she feels like a stranger in her own life. She looks in the mirror and doesn't recognize the person who can just buy anything they want. That feeling of being adrift, that complete loss of self, that is the absolute core of stage 1. Okay, so after that emotional roller coaster comes stage 2, wealth acceptance. This is where things start to settle down a bit, and you begin to move past those wild extremes.
Right. So the rose-colored glasses come off, or, the doom and gloom glasses, depending on your honeymoon experience. The point is, the intense emotion starts to fade. You begin to see your wealth in a more realistic light, not as a magic wand or a curse, but as a tool that has pros and cons.
And this is a really big mental shift. You start to appreciate the new doors that are open to you, but you also might get a little overwhelmed by how complicated it all is. You realize, okay, this money comes with responsibilities. The goal here is to start weaving this new reality into the fabric of your life, instead of treating it like this separate thing that's either amazing or terrifying.
Let's check back in with Amy. This is where she has her breakthrough. Instead of feeling lost, she realizes, wait a minute, I don't have to quit my career. This money gives me freedom. She can use her resources to open her own practice, doing the work she loves on her own terms. She's not abandoning who she was. She's upgrading her identity. This is a massive turning point.
And that leads us perfectly into stage 3, which is identity consolidation. This is where you stop just reacting to your money and you start telling it what to do. You're taking charge.
This is the game changer right here. Wealth stops being the thing that defines you. It's no longer I am a wealthy person. Instead, it becomes I am a person who happens to have wealth as a tool to pursue my real goals. See the difference? It's huge. So for Amy, this is where she steps up and becomes the conductor of her own life. What does that look like? Well, first, she sets some hard boundaries. She stops being the family ATM. Second, she takes a hard look at the values she grew up with and asks, do these still work for me? And third, and this is crucial, she gives her money a job. She sets up an educational trust, tying her resources directly to her values. She's in control now.
All right, and this brings us to the final destination, stage 4, achieving balance. This is where you've really matured in your relationship with wealth. The focus isn't so much on yourself anymore. It's about the bigger picture, your legacy.
At this point, money is just part of your toolkit. It's fully integrated. It's no longer a source of stress or a reason to have a big ego. It's more like a compass. It's there to help you navigate the big decisions in life, pointing you toward your purpose.
And because of that, the questions you ask yourself totally change. You're past the who am I with all this money phase. Now the questions are deeper. They're things like, how do I want to be a good steward of these resources? What's the best way to spend my time on this planet? And what kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? The focus just gets so much bigger.
And really, this quote just says it all. Wealth is still a big part of your life, obviously, but it's not who you are. It's a tool that helps you achieve your bigger goals. It works for you, not the other way around.
And that brings us right back to the beginning, doesn't it? That initial shock, that chaos you feel when you first come into money. It doesn't have to be the end of the story. This journey through these 4 stages is the path out. It's how you go from feeling like your money owns you to finding a genuine sense of well-being with it.
So look, if you feel like your money is calling the shots, that it's writing your life story for you,
It's time to take back the pen. You write its story.